it probably has to do with, like, I would, you know, as you mentioned, I was a little bit of a fidgety child. So sometimes, like that metal bowl, like they have it in front of a microphone to, you know, make your voice sound all metallic-y and whatnot. And sometimes, you know, I'd like move it around a little bit, or like accidentally kick it or something, or...
How do you accidentally kick something on a microphone?
Or, you know, swing dance with it. It's whatever, really. But the point is, like, every once in a while, that bowl would hit the microphone, and it caused a discordant sound. Something like... It was terrible. And, you know, it kind of annoyed Mike and Colleen. They didn't like that noise either. I didn't like it. Yeah. That honestly might have been the most difficult part about doing that. Other than that, it was really, like... I still don't understand how they let me play Halo, but they really did. They really would do that bribe system that Vic was talking about. Like, they'd be like, all right, Aaron, 5 more lines and you can go play Halo for 15 minutes. And I was like, they're already paying me $35 an hour.
Wow,
and it's an awesome freaking job. There are so many people that would love to have this job, and I still need to be bribed with video games. Like, I have no comprehension of what, like, good luck I've fallen into. I was just
well, because when you're 11 years old, you have no comprehension of money. Like, you just think it just falls out of your parents' wallet. It magically reproduces itself in their pocket, and then you get it. So you're like, yeah, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, you sign up to get your job, and then it's just infinite monies from there, right?
In answer to your question, as far as Ed was concerned, I think there was nothing difficult about playing Ed. The only thing about it that gave me a little bit of concern at the beginning was that I didn't think I sounded enough like Romy Park, who played Ed in Japanese. When I got cast, I had not really paid, I didn't know anything about Fullmetal Alchemist, as is the case with a lot of the shows we do. We've never heard of them, we don't watch them, and so the first we learn about them is when we go into the studio to record. And the director will say, okay, this is the situation, and this is the story, and this is your character, and this is, you know, kind of what kind of person he is, and then we come up with a voice and we go. So when I got cast in Fullmetal, I knew nothing about the show. And the strangest thing happened with Fullmetal. After I got cast, there were like months before we started recording. It was like this hurry up cast, and then we waited before we started recording. So during the time before we started recording, I started looking on the internet to find out stuff about Fullmetal Alchemist. I didn't even know whether it was a big show or a popular show or a little show, but I started getting email from fans like I had never gotten before. And they said stuff like, hi Dick, I heard you got cast to play Ed in Fullmetal. Don't screw it up. I'd never gotten emails like that before. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, this must be a popular show. People have very strong feelings about this show. When I started listening to the Japanese, I'm like, oh crap. I don't sound like her. I could never sound like her. She's a girl, first of all, and I mean, I don't sound like that. So I remember going into the studio, one of the very first episodes with Cornella, the very first one, and saying to Colleen, do you want me to try to, like, make my voice higher and sound more like her? Because I don't sound like her. And I remember them saying, as clearly as yesterday, they said to me, look, the Japanese cast you based on your audition. They wanted what you did in the audition is what they liked. And they told me also that the Japanese who owned Fullmetal decided that they wanted the American version or the English version of Ed to be more masculine. They wanted him to be a little more of a boy, of a male sounding than the original. Like, okay. So that was the only thing that kind of gave me pause at the beginning, was I felt like I didn't sound young enough or enough like the original, and that nobody would like it. Nobody would like what I did. No. Oh, no. I mean, no, that's all fun. That's fun. In fact, I mean, the short rants are rough on the voice, So you don't want to have to do them more than once or twice. So you practice them in your head a few times. You don't want to scream bloody murder and then mess up and have to do it again. And then it was too short, so you have to lengthen it, and you have to do it again. And then you saw that there was a little pause in the middle, and you missed the pause, so you have to do it again. You know what I mean? And then there was a change in the mouth shape, so you need to do it again. Well, after you've screamed like bloody murder like that 4 or 5 times, you start to feel it, and you don't sound the same anymore. So I would practice the short rants. I'd look at it and, here you come. And I'd try to practice in my mind and get prepared to do it. And I'd make sure the engineer had the record level turned way down, because when you scream out like that, it's pretty loud. And there have been many times at the beginning of the series when I would scream a short rant and I would nail it. Perfect. And I would pin the needle because it was louder than the engineer thought it was going to be, and it distorted. So we had to do it again. So after a while, I'd start going, okay, dude, are you ready? I'd say to the engineer, I'm like, you ready? Because it's going to be loud. And he would turn it way down so we wouldn't lose the take. The short rants weren't difficult at all. I mean, they're wordy. You got to get through them quickly and articulate them and scream them at the same time. But my favorite moments were the moments between the brothers, the quiet, more emotional moments between us. I loved those scenes. Those are my favorite scenes.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites is when Al's arm falls off. It's like, brother, you can never try to leave me alone again, okay? And my arm fell off. Great, sweet. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, Fullmetal Alchemist has that thing. It's like a rare quality of the show where they're able to make you laugh and cry. It's just like, yeah. I'm thinking someone.
We have about 5
We have about 5 minutes left. I know, right?
One of you two. You can fight it out if you'd like.
My question is for Viviana.
Hi, President.
Hi. Okay, I want to know, since I always call you by your full name, what's your middle name?
My full name is Victor Joseph Mignana. Or if you were in Italy, you would say Vittorio Giuseppe Mignogna. That's what they would say in the old country where my family from. Where they eat lots of pasta. Yes, in the back with the hat. Yeah. Oh yeah, I did wear a hat today.
What do you think is your most favorite time recording with while recording Fullmetal?
Well, if it were a series that was 12 episodes long, then you'd probably have a favorite moment. But when you spend as much time doing something as we spent doing Fullmetal, there were so many great moments. It would be impossible to pick one. What do you think? Do you have anyone that sticks out to you?
One moment does stand out. I mentioned that I would play Halo after or during recording sessions. Well, this one time, I schooled the entire engineer team at Funimation in Halo. Oh yeah, it wasn't actually cool. I was like in a ghost, but the point is that they all died.
And that's your favorite Fullmetal experience.
And then I went back. And then I did really well recording something random. I honestly don't even remember what episode it was, but I just remember being really pumped up for my victory on the battlefield and being like, yes, if I have mastered combat as a start, then surely I can master voice acting. Yeah.
If I had to pick, I'll pick one moment that I remember, and that was the first time that I actually shed tears in the series.
Nina?
No, it wasn't Nina. No. A lot of people write me that. They're like, did you cry when Nina died? I'm like, no. No. The reason why is because that was very early in the series, you guys.
It's true.
That's just 3 or 4 episodes in, I mean, it was, so we were kind of still new to the story.
Yeah.
Still kind of getting our bearings with who the characters were and how they related to each other. But what it was for me, and again, if this is a repetition, I know many of you heard this before because it's, you know, the panels get put on YouTube, but the moment for me that I found myself unexpectedly moved by what was going on was the end of the Bury the Chopper episode. When Ed was being chased around by Bury the Chopper and he thought he was going to die. I mean, he really thought he was going to be killed. And that final scene, we were getting ready to record that final scene where Ed and Al were sitting on the steps and they've got Bury the Chopper in handcuffs and they're taking him away, and Ed's sitting there and talking to Al, and I was reading through it, and then we watched the scene, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt myself start to tear up. And I was like, this has never happened to me before. I'd recorded 30 or 40 series before I did Full Metal, and I've never been so moved by something. And so I felt these tears coming on, and if, you know, felt my eyes start to kind of get wet and fill up with tears. And I don't remember who was directing that day, either Mike or Colleen, but they realized that I was getting emotional about it, and they said to me, do you want to take a few minutes and we'll come back and, you know, if you want to get some water? And I'm like, are you kidding? No, let's do it now. Right? Let's record it right now while it's so visceral and real. And from that moment on, every time there was something moving or emotional or powerful in the series, I was a slobbering mess in the booth, because I really felt a connection to the character unlike anyone that I'd ever done before. You guys, I think we are out of time, and before you go anywhere though, listen, Aaron and I will both be signing one last time at noon over in the main events room, and I would love to get to meet any of you that we haven't gotten to meet yet. Come by and let us sign some stuff for you and take pictures. I've got some music CDs left I would love for you guys to have if you're interested, and we would love to meet you before the weekend is over. All right? So, anything else you want to say?
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for coming, guys. We love you.